What's up, guys? Thank you for clicking on this video today. We're going to get straight into it, and basically all we're going to be talking about today is the cons of smoking weed. Marijuana, whatever you want to call it, but basically the moral of the story here today is I have been smoking for over 4 years, and I just posted a video because I took a break for 30 days, and I've never taken a break once in my 4 years of smoking, and it felt good, honestly. I used to think that weed had no consequences whatsoever, but I was very wrong about that, and there's nothing crazy in my opinion. You'll see here today. We'll show you all the cons to smoking weed or all the downsides to smoking it, but at the end of the day, if you're over 18 or 21, wherever it's legal, you should be able to choose for yourself and make an informed decision. So that's what we're here to help you with today. So we're going to outline all the negatives to smoking marijuana. So let's get straight into it. Hannah compiled some stuff for us today, and we got some good stuff. I've done my own research, and I've just had experience, so we're going to dive straight in. Let's get to it. We got the short-term effects of smoking marijuana and also the long-term effects of smoking. We're just going to be going through the negatives of the long-term and then the short-term. So the first negative short-term effect would be paranoia, panic / anxiety, all of that. So some people smoke marijuana and they end up feeling kind of panicky, a little anxious, maybe a little scared, and just paranoid in general because, you know, it might not mix well with them. And that's what I like to emphasize with everybody, that this plant may not be for you. It's not for everyone. It's not a one-size-fits-all, like I like to say. So that one is a big one. I don't know what percentage it affects out of everyone, but I've just heard a select few people that just don't really like it and just don't really like the feeling of being high in general. But that's a short term. It's nothing crazy that I've really heard of that where it's like, you know, you can't die off of this, you know, you can't overdose, any of that. That's the awesome part about weed. Everybody's body is different, but if you can find a way to respect this plant, then it will respect you. So on to the second one, which is impaired cognitive abilities. I don't really think that you can compare this one to alcohol just because they're two separate categories completely. I think they're both separate substances and they produce completely different effects. So it's going to affect your mind and body, and some tasks that can put other humans in danger you might not want to do on marijuana because, you know, some people might think they feel fine or think they feel good, but end up being distracted or not as aware as they could be while driving, while operating machinery. There's a lot of things that could happen, but as long as you're responsible with this substance, there's no need to worry about that. If you do it in a safe environment, if you do it in your home, then you got nothing to worry about. But if you're out driving, you know, operating heavy equipment or something like that, then that's not going to be a good idea whatsoever.
So the next one is that weed affects your memory. So obviously when you smoke weed, you kind of forget about things, you don't remember, and that's just because the weed affects a part of your brain, and that part of your brain helps with memories, so it makes it hard to remember things. Like, you might not remember what happened 2 minutes ago. So it's like a fact that when you smoke weed, you kind of forget about things, like you can't remember things as well, but there has been research about long-term memory effects. There's been studies that say that people who smoke weed have performed worse on memory testing, but that's also just study. It's not a proven fact.
Yeah, so I mean, everyone's going to be different, but all in all, I think it does kind of produce at least a change in the mind. So it's just not going to be your normal sober self. That's why, you know, when you drink alcohol or you smoke weed, whatever you do, you're in a different state of mind. It actually does affect the chemicals inside your mind, which might not be the safest to do certain tasks. So most of you guys should know this, but I feel like there's so many people out there that don't really take this one serious. They have too much confidence and end up hurting people sometimes. So that's just not what we like to see around here. But enough of this topic, on to the next one. So that's really all the short-term negative effects, if you want to call them. I think with everything, you can have too much of it and kind of overdo it. So in this case scenario, you got to respect it. You got to really listen to your body. And that goes hand in hand with researching the substances that you decide to put into your body. If you guys are smart about it and stay informed, then there is really no issue. We're just here to outline all these for you. So all the short term, done. Now to the long term effects, which medical marijuana just became a thing here in Michigan. and all around the world it's slowly happening, but we're not going to see a lot of crazy research, stuff like that on it quite yet. I mean, I think we're progressing in the right direction. The people who research marijuana and its long-term effects, they don't really have enough evidence yet. They haven't really had enough cases of people that really are lifetime smokers, and they don't have enough data to pull in together yet. So I think after a couple years of legalization federally, then we'll start getting some of that. But right now we're kind of limited with the information we have, but we are definitely making progress. There's definitely stuff that's getting out there and really changing people's minds about marijuana in general. All right, guys, so let's get on to the long-term effects. Hannah's going to start us off.
Okay, so the first one that I found was lung inflammation, lung diseases and illnesses, respiratory problems. That is from smoking weed, but also it's because you're smoking it, just like if you would smoke a cigarette. So if there's other ways that you can find to use marijuana that aren't actually smoking it, that can also help so that these negative effects don't affect you as much or as bad.
Just for example, we have vaping, and you can vaporize, as I should say, because vaping, you might think that I'm talking about like a cartridge. I'm actually talking about vaporizing it with a device. Usually they're, you know, like on a table. You set the devices on a table, and then they heat up the weed instead of actually combusting it. So you're not getting the chemicals of combustion when you're actually inhaling. So it's all around good for people who don't want to have any lung symptoms or lung problems in the future. And there's edibles. There's all different ways to do it, but you can consume cannabis in an array of different ways. So,
And also with the vaporizer that Eric was talking about, that weed, once it's heated up, you can use that after you've heated up and used it. You can then use that weed to make edibles too.
Yeah, it's called already vaped bud, and you can use that for edibles. So if you want to stay clear from, you know, lung stuff, lung problems, then I would say vaping or eating edibles, because that really can help limit the lung complications.
Okay, so the next one is basically just kind of littler things that everyday smokers experience more often. So things like coughing, wheezing, shortness of breath, tightness in your chest, that's all linked to everyday smoking with marijuana. Then it can also worsen your asthma. So if you have asthma and you're smoking, it can make it worse. And it's also been linked to the development of chronic bronchitis, which, if you guys know what bronchitis is, it's not fun. So
yeah, definitely not fun at all. And also for people, this is very rare, but there's been some cases, I forgot exactly what it's called, but it's basically where you're just constantly throwing up. And this is if you smoke every day for a while, and basically, I don't even know, it has to be a long time, and it's very rare on top of that. But it's basically where you keep throwing up until you stop smoking weed, basically, and get your digestive tract right. I feel like that's for people who are eating bad, and also for people who aren't respecting the plant. So,
yeah,
like I say, if you follow the rules of respecting that plant, find your balance with it, you're going to be chilling. So these things might sound scary. I'm not saying that weed's right or wrong for you, but, you know, make that decision for yourself. And if you need it for a medicine, or you need it to, you know, help you through your life, then I see no problem with it if it's right for you.
So the next one is, it can, if you use it really frequently, long term, it can cause depression and anxiety, which is weird because a lot of times it's supposed to be able to help with that. But if you constantly are using it. Yeah,
so basically what she's saying, if you're constantly using it and kind of, you know, suppressing your emotions that you're actually feeling during that moment, then they're kind of going to build up in a way. And if you're just constantly running away from everything and smoking away your emotions, then I think they're going to add up and really, you know, come to haunt you or come back at you in the end. So I think it's good to be able to use weed respectfully, but at the same time know when to face an emotion or face a part of your life that you got to face without weed or without actually having a distraction, because you can look at weed as, you know, kind of an escape or a distraction, but if you just use it to ground yourself and stay in the present moment and experience, then you're not necessarily running away from anything, you're not running away from any emotions, and you're just feeling what life has to offer in general.
Again, with all these things, there's not like a ton of research. It's just there's been connections between different diseases and different conditions with smoking weed. So the next one is you're at a greater risk for heart disease. So
let's say someone has a study that says 100,000 people that have heart disease also smoked marijuana. You got to see what you're working with. You got to see out of how many people that is. But with the increasing amount of medical patients that are using this plant and the amount of people, recreationally that are using this plant, there's going to be people that have those things anyways that just happen to be smoking marijuana. And maybe they can actually do some good research to see if it's linked in any way. So once they have that, it'll be awesome. But as of now, we just kind of have the numbers.
This one is very not certain, but I thought I would mention it.
We'll put them in anyways just because we want to keep you guys
this
informed.
This one, there's been connections to testicular cancer. I think that's how you say it, which is basically cancer in your
testicles.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's associated with the development of testicular germ cell tumors. So again, it's nothing for certain. There's been some studies on it, but I thought I would mention that too.
And I did do a video. If you guys want to go check it out, I'll put it up there. But it's 30 days without marijuana, and it was a crazy journey, but one of the things that I didn't realize is that there actually is sort of a withdrawal from it. If your body is used to smoking weed every day, then going without that substance may be a big change for your body, and it'll take a little bit of time for your body to get used to it. So I was getting night sweats for a little bit, and that's just my body trying to get out all the THC, get it all out of my system. And people usually have coughs if they stop smoking weed just to get all the phlegm out, everything like that. You can also be very anxious or depressed, and that was from me not respecting it. So, we just want to keep you guys informed, keep you guys kind of strapped at all times with information. So if you guys did enjoy this, make sure to like this video because we do put a lot of time and effort into this. If you do want to see more of this kind of content, make sure to subscribe. So I will catch you in the next video. Eric Slavin and Hannah out.